It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. It's time for our Indiana Borough Police segment. Normally we do this with Chief Justin Shaw, but today we welcome Officer Andreana Malcotti with us this morning. I knew I was going to mess that name up. Gosh. Our visit presented by Marcus and Mack, voted Best Law Firm and Best Personal Injury Lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. She's a Northern Cambria graduate and IUP, yes?
Yes.
And
yep.
IUP. Did you go to the academy there?
I did.
Yeah. And you've been on the police force for how long?
Since September.
Since September.
Yep.
Yeah. What made you want to go into police?
I interned at the Indiana Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
I needed it in my master's program at IUP. So I interned at the Borough, which was really cool. And I previously, before the Indiana Borough, I worked at Altoona Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
So then I came here in September.
Yeah.
So
what attracted you to law enforcement in the first place?
I actually wanted to go to law school.
Mm-hmm.
So being a police officer was not my original plan. And then deciding to intern at the Borough, the police department, and, kind of falling in love with it there.
Yeah. Well, that's terrific. It's great that you're on the force here. I think people probably don't really have an idea, a concept of what it's like to be a police officer in a town such as this, which has the university community. It has the residential community, which is, an older subset of folks, and putting it all together, working in cooperation with state police presence, which is very strong here, a campus police presence as well. Got it well covered, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you do as a person new to the police force with Indiana? Is it patrol, or what are the duties that you do?
Yes, I'm strictly on patrol right now.
Mm-hmm.
Various calls for service,
Mm-hmm.
traffic, stuff like that.
Yeah. So in the wintertime, I talk with Chief Shaw about this all the time. In the wintertime, especially with campus not active at the moment, it's a whole different animal than it is in the fall and than it is in the spring. And you have experience with that, both from the student standpoint,
Right.
And from the police officer standpoint.
Right.
So you have a perspective on that probably nobody else has, unless they're actually on the force.
Right.
Yeah. So for you, what's the translation from being a student on one end of that equation and an officer on the other? What are some of the things you note about being a police officer that maybe students don't recognize or town folk don't recognize?
I think that, I can, because I lived in the Borough for around 6 years, so I know the Borough. And then obviously, like you said, I was a student, so I understand that community of people as well. Mm-hmm. And, being a young officer, I can relate to them, the students in a way. Yeah.
And it is a unique perspective. It's something that probably folks don't realize. Mm-hmm. And so for you, it's a pretty valuable set of skills that you bring to it. And I'm sure that's a pretty exciting thing for you as well.
Right.
Yeah. Training at IUP. Tell me how that went about. What's the program like? What are the steps that you take?
For the police academy, there's a various amount of steps. The application process, kind of the physical fitness test that you have to take, a psych evaluation, and then in the academy, it's roughly 6 months. So you're learning textbook stuff, you're going hands-on. Mm-hmm. Essentially, kind of the baseline to get you started in your police career. And then I would say the real training goes whenever you get your first police job and you're kind of in the, it's called the FTO program, and you're on the street and you're learning, what it's like to be an officer.
Mm-hmm. You were in Altoona.
Yes.
You were a police officer there.
Yes,
was that the first job out of school?
Yes.
That was the first job.
Yep.
you don't want to compare, but compare the experiences in Altoona with what you experience here in Indiana. Is it?
Well, I would say the city of Altoona is it is a city, and this is a borough, small town borough. Population difference, city difference, and I think, there's still, various calls for service, and there's similarities there. But I think when you're dealing with a small borough, the aspect of community policing is very important because it's a smaller area of people, and I think getting to know them is more important rather than in a city where, the population was near, I think, 45,000 people. It's hard to get to know everybody.
Sure. How long were you there?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. So you're familiar with Altoona.
Yes.
That when the McDonald's incident occurred a month ago,
right.
I'm sure you were very, very interested in what was going on.
Right, and I had just left the department a little bit after that, but all the guys at the station, they were asking me about it because obviously I, just went to, I just worked there, but it was definitely interesting. Very news heavy. I feel like it was on all the broadcasting stations, Altoona Police Department.
Yeah.
So.
Did you know some of the officers that were?
I did.
That were
yes.
there? Yeah. Cheering them on from the sidelines.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Here in Indiana Borough, of course, as you said, it's different. It's a community type emphasis. I think Chief Shaw has sort of made that a real hallmark of the Indiana Borough Police Department. It's not a hard town to get to know, is it?
No, it's really not. It's smaller, but I will say with the students, it makes it very diverse and very interesting at times. The different students that we get each year, and they definitely make it interesting. But the borough itself, I enjoy working here. Just getting to know the people in a smaller group of people rather than a city.
Yeah, and we think of the IUP population, but Indiana Borough also, the police force has a great relationship with the school district as well. And
yes, we
so
do.
you have a presence in the schools.
Oh, absolutely, and all the schools. And I think showing that presence is important, starting at young, and them seeing officers' presence very important.
Yeah. So if you were hired in September, that means that you were here for homecoming.
I was.
And I know that Chief Shaw places a special emphasis on readiness, preparedness there.
Right.
And in the spring, of course, there's always the big event that happens there as well. And so that training and that extra emphasis, that kicks in then, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. The more police presence, we get more police calls. We have the parades. And dealing with all that. So it definitely is interesting.
Yeah. Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Andreana Malcotti is our guest. She's an officer in the Indiana Borough Police Department, brand new to the department. It's been good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
And when we see you out in the patrol car, are we also going to see you walking the street or
oh, yes.
Do you get a bicycle at any time?
I don't yet. Maybe one day soon.
Tell Slavinsky you need a bike.
I had mentioned it. I said I would like a bike because I do like to get out of the police car and walk and be active. So I would enjoy a bike maybe one day.
We need to make that happen. Good to meet you. Thanks for coming in to visit with us today. We appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
Indiana Borough Police Officer Andreana Malcotti with us this morning. It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Guys going to get on you when you get back there then? They're going to say, hey, I heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, are they? Well, that's all right, too. It's 8:56, 4 minutes away from 9 o'clock. It's Indiana in the morning. AccuWeather says today on the way to 26 degrees with some snow showers. We've had a little bit of snow here in this last half hour or so, down to 17 tonight, 22 tomorrow, mainly cloudy with some snow showers happening then. Indiana in the morning, always presented by First Commonwealth Bank. Coming up, top of the hour, Fox News, and then Josh Widdison in our WCCS newsroom. In our next hour, the folks from Vocelli's Pizza will be coming by to visit with us, and they're ready to open their brand new place. In fact, they are open, and so we'll be able to visit with them and find out what's going on. It's Indiana in the Morning. It's 3.5 away from 9 o'clock.